Hello, welcome to episode 83 of Anime Territory. I'm your host this week, Johnny Ruhal. With me, as always, is my co-host, Benjamin. Grandma and Grandpa are fucking again, shaving.
Okay.
We ran out of time to get an episode recorded, which means we're doing what we always do when that happens, and talking about the current season of anime.
Yeah.
And the shows that we're already watching.
That you were mainly watching.
Yeah, you watched like 2 shows just to be like, I need to get something watched.
Yes.
And then there was one show we were watching together, and then we watched one show together, the first like 3 episodes of, which we should watch more of after this. And then there was one show that we watched one episode of like half an hour ago. But we're going to talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you have 2?
Yeah.
So 10 shows that are airing this season?
Yep.
You want to get right into it with, and I'm going to say we'll try to be spoiler free for the most part, but don't hold us to that.
It's also the first 3 episodes, so.
Well, it's more than, I mean, like, some of the stuff I'm talking about is season 3 or whatnot. Yeah, so, with that, we'll be,
okay.
I'll try not to spoil too much.
Gotcha.
But, when it comes to Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 2, it will have a pretty big spoiler right up front. So,
okay.
Just like, if you care about that, I don't know, skip like 2 minutes ahead. You can find a nice sweet spot. Skip 30 seconds ahead. If we're still talking about it, skip 30 seconds. I'm warning you now. Okay. So, you want to just start with the show that we're watching together?
Sure.
Because I think were you disappointed in me when I'm like, oh yeah, I've been watching that this whole time?
Which one?
Konosuba?
I just figured we'd watch it together, but I don't care.
Okay. That's one of the shows where it's like, I started watching that by myself, like years and years ago. And then I think I showed it to you for the podcast. Yeah. So I just didn't think of it as like this is a me and Ben show.
Okay.
But now I'm watching it with you for the most part. There was a week where I was gone. And I'm like, you can watch it without me.
And then I didn't, and then you watched it without me.
Yeah. So I told you, like, hey, I'm going to be gone. I want to watch this on the train to Chicago.
Okay.
So yeah, Konosuba Season 3. So again, try to not be too spoilery with this. We got art style change. It's a little more silly.
Okay.
Soft looking. Does that make sense?
I guess.
They're more like round face.
Okay. I don't know. It kind of looks the same to me.
No, I think there's a pretty big difference, but maybe I'm just misremembering. What are your thoughts on this season compared to season 1 and 2?
It's not quite hitting like the other ones.
That's
something's off.
Yeah, something. It's not bad.
No,
it's still fun, but the humor's not quite there.
Yeah,
and like I think their performances are fine. I think it's probably just okay, we're getting into season 3. Sort of season 3, it either gets really good or the author starts to meander a bit.
Okay,
and I just feel like
we're kind of that might be the issue. They're starting to meander.
Yeah,
I think the show's better when the groups, like the party, is actually partying, and right now it's mainly just Kazuma being a perv. Yeah. So
I feel like this most recent episode, which I don't even remember what one it was, as of 5/16/2024, that one was pretty fun. Yeah. I like this one. Some of the other ones are just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
It's been very fine so far.
But I mean, like, it has so much. It might just be like, am I misremembering season 1 and 2? Like, was it that funny? Or am I just, like, more mature now? Like, surely that can't be it.
Again, I think it's because they were, like, going out and battling things, and, like, they're
having adventures,
their misadventures, and what happens in there is what was funny.
But like, I feel like there were several funny episodes where they're just hanging out at home or whatever, too.
Which is true, but also, I feel like just the season, they're just not together.
This is, yeah.
It's like Kazuma with somebody
sort of off by himself.
Or he's like with a one-on-one with the one of the other ones.
So yeah, it's still good. I'm still wanting to watch more. Yeah. At this point, I'm invested in the actual story and not just the gags.
Okay.
But I feel like the gags are definitely not quite as funny this time around. So, well, I mean, do we want to say anything more about Konosuba season 3?
Not really.
I mean, we can't talk too much about plot on it without giving away spoilers. So let's move on to the other one that we can't talk too much about plot on, and you can't talk about at all. That time I got reincarnated as a slime, season 3.
Oh, okay.
What I will say is, so far I've watched several episodes of this season, and every episode has at least one meeting, if not several. If not, the whole episode is just people having meetings about the current state of things.
Okay. Now, do you like that or do you not like that?
It's both. Okay. A part of me is like, okay, this is a bit much. And then a part of me is like, okay, like, there's
knowing you, that's either like, oh my god, this is so boring, they're just talking. Or be like, yes, they're all just talking.
Look, in Shin Godzilla, when they go from a meeting to a council, that is great.
Okay.
You know, and it's not quite played for comedic effect. If it was played for comedic effect, it'd be a little bit better. Okay. It really just feels like the author is like, okay, massive things happened at the end of season 2.
Okay.
I've set up a lot of factions, / I'm going to set up some more this season that have been here this whole time. And we're just going to have them all get caught up on the situation and talk about their plans so that, you know, we can worry for the future of like, oh no, these guys are going to fuck stuff up. And it's just like there was an episode where the whole thing was meetings, and then like the next episode preview was like the word meeting was in the title, and we're like, oh great. Great. Another meeting episode. So okay. Part of me is like, yes, go for the endless 8, all meetings all the time.
Okay.
But a part of me is like, this is really tiring. Can something please happen?
Gotcha.
Can somebody please make a move instead of talking about making a move? So that's. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's fine.
Okay.
He's still a slime. That's still a thing.
Cool.
So now let's talk about. So we talked about a show that we watched together. We talked about a show that I just watched. Do you want to tell me about one of your shows?
Sure. Let's talk about Grandpa and Grandma Turn Young Again. Yeah. So, I'll give you the basic plot. 2 old people, really old. They own like a apple orchard. And they're just walking one day. And they like go to a tree that they planted when they first got married. And it's like old, dead, barely standing up. And there's a golden apple on it. So they eat the golden apple. And now they're young again.
Alright.
And everybody's cool with it.
But it's just like, oh, you got one of them golden apples, I see.
No, it's more like, they'll be like, what? And they're like, yeah, I'm your grandma and grandpa. It's like, okay. There's no questions.
No questions?
Nothing.
So it's gotta have, you gotta think about the implications here. This is just something that, if there's no questions, they're like, oh yeah, there's a precedent for this. So this has happened before.
I guess. But they like go to an old folks home. I assume it like a community center.
Yeah. And
everybody's just calm about it. They're like, oh yeah, those guys are young now. That's keen. They're not just like, what the hell? What?
I'm sorry, you've had a golden apple? Are there more?
Like, all the old ladies are like flirting with the grandpa now because he's super young and shredded.
You didn't tell me he was shredded.
Oh, he's shredded. He is shredded.
Okay. For those of you listening at home, Ben just did like a little like the flex position, but the flex down position, not the flex up position.
Oh yeah, you got to show like the
whatever those muscles are.
Pectoral muscles, I think.
All right. Would you recommend that I watch Grandma and Grandpa Turn Young Again?
I don't know. It's very slice of life, so there's just a lot of vignette stuff. There's not like an overarching like, oh my god, this happened to us, now we gotta figure out what happened.
It's not a mystery. There's no. Is it? Do they do that thing where like one episode is actually just like 7 skits?
Basically.
Okay.
Which
is fine.
I'm not a huge fan of.
I mean, that's sort of what Love is War started out as.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, are you going to keep watching it? Is I guess the question. It's something we always say, like, we're going to keep watching this one. And there's so many shows that we have not kept watching.
I would say I would. I wouldn't drop it, but there is a chance I just don't go back to it. Yeah. It doesn't catch my attention that much. I think it is a little boring, but I don't know. There's some fun stuff in it. Oh, I'll write down some of the stuff they did. There was a sports festival. They visited the doctor's office. They played like bocce ball at the senior center. And then they talked about the inevitability of their death and other fun stuff. A lot of death talk is mixed in between these episodes.
Gotcha. All right.
But yeah, it's okay. It's just okay.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that anime, I'd be like, that sounds fun for an episode.
Yeah, it's basically what it was. Was it their granddaughter has a crush on the grandpa because he's hot?
What? You didn't leave with that?
I forgot about it.
You forget about the granddaughter crushing on her grandpa?
Yeah. It's not like, I guess, a crush. She's just more like, oh, grandpa's hot.
Alright, well, that's different.
I don't know.
If you're like, yeah, that person's an attractive person, that's different than crushing on them.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's full on crushing on it. She's just like, oh, grandpa's hot.
Like, I'll look at Oscar Isaac and I'll be like, that is an impressive specimen. Mm-hmm. But then, you know, it's not like I'm in love with him, Baka. I picked a bad example. Well, I picked a bad example.
Why'd you say Baka? You usually don't say Baka unless you like them.
I picked a bad example. Who played Paul Atreides?
Paul Atreides is Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, I'll be like, yeah, that I understand it. That man is attractive. Not in love with that man though. No, it does not appeal to my taste.
Baka. What?
Okay, but it's also got to be weird because you would think like, yeah, of course you love your grandparents, but now you also admit that your grandparents are hot. That is a weird thing to be on there. So, okay, so let's switch tactics. Let's talk about something that we both watched again. Okay. That's going to be the order I go in here.
Okay.
I mean, we're barreling through these things.
I would say do something that you watched and then something we watched, just because you have more of that, I think.
Not honestly, no.
No,
you watched an Archdemon's Dilemma.
I forgot about. I always keep forgetting to watch that episode. All right,
so there's 3 things that we watched together. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 things. I guess there was 5 things that I watched by myself. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'll do one of my things. I don't want to talk about a show that is in a big season though, so I've got 2 other shows in here that are new shows. So
okay,
I will talk about A Condition Called Love, which to be fair I've only seen 2 episodes of. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm going to continue with it. I've got like a theory about something, just like an offhand comment that the character made where I'm like, oh, there might be some depth to this that I may not like, or it may be depth that I'm like, okay, well at least it had depth, or it may just be nothing and there is no depth.
Okay, you want to give me a very broad synopsis?
Okay, so we got our main girl, right? I don't know her name. Okay. Main girl's her name.
Okay.
She is like, I I'm not looking for a boyfriend or anything. I'm just happy, loving my friends and family. Mm-hmm. Very content where she's at in her high school days. We have hot guy.
Okay.
He gets like dumped by his girlfriend, and it's like he's like, I guess you just didn't love me as much as I loved you, sort of thing. Anyway, he gets dumped. People are like, man, that guy's hot. He's just like being mopey in the snow. Mm-hmm. main girl sees him like, oh yeah, that's that hot guy my friend was talking about. He's just getting snowed on. I'm gonna go lend him my umbrella. And she's like, you can borrow my umbrella. And he's like, will you date me? A day later, he's like, will you date me? And she's like, nah, I'm good. And he's like, even if it's just on a trial basis, she's like, all right, I'm interested. I'm not in love with you or anything.
Is that technically what dates are?
Trial basis.
For like
well, they're
marriage?
just like, we'll date until like Christmas or New Year's or something. Okay. Is what they end up.
And then
deciding.
We'll reevaluate our situation.
It's like I know you said you like me, but I don't necessarily like you. But I don't know what it means to be in love. I'm willing to give it a shot. This is intriguing me. She's very low maintenance.
Okay.
And he is very... the word I wrote down is simping at a dangerous level.
Okay.
So there was an incident where she like loaned one of her classmates something to like a barrette to like tie their hair back during PE or something. Mm-hmm. And the classmate is like, I think it fell off while we were running out in the yard. And she's like, don't worry about it. You know, she's a little sad about it. But she's like, you know, she goes out and looks at the yard and it's like, oh, it's snowing. And the hot guy is like, oh, well, I'll go find it. And she's like, no, please don't. It is snowing. You'll catch your death of cold. Mm-hmm. I know that's a trope. Like Japanese people get a cold whenever they are out in the rain once. But this dude, against what his girlfriend said, saying like, don't worry about finding it. It's not important.
And anime stereotypes.
He spent hours searching for that out in the snow. I don't even think he had gloves on.
Of course not.
And it's like, dude, you gotta listen to her. This is not a healthy relationship. Mm-hmm. And this is where we get like a little hint of depth here, where it's like, okay, this is sort of toxic, but it's not, like, it's toxic for him because of himself. Okay. If that makes sense? Like, she's like very much like, no, don't go out of your way. Don't be crazy about this. I've known you for a week. And we get like one little hint where he says something like, I don't think you understand how obsessed with you I am. Oh. And so he might be like uber obsessed. And so my theory is it's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to get real dark about it and be kind of interesting, or they're going to be like, no, we're going to teach you to be better. Like, it's like, I don't know if they're going to like fix him or if they're going to let him spiral.
Gotcha.
And a part of me is like, well, at least that would be interesting.
Spiraling would be interesting.
But it's not something I like seeing.
True.
So my brain is like, do I want to keep watching and be proven right that he's going to spiral and it might be interesting? Or do I want to just say like, hey, it has the potential to spiral and be interesting, but I stopped before I found out for sure. Or, you know, because if I watch it, it might turn out like, oh, this is just milquetoast hot guy learns to be a person bullshit.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I've seen that before. So, you know, that's a condition called love. Though, I think when Gigik did his spring thing, he called it Addicted to You or something like that, which might have been a more, like, direct Japanese translation as opposed to what Crunchyroll called it. So it might be called something else, but in Crunchyroll it's called a condition called love. Okay. I don't know. Does it spiral?
My guess would be no, but I don't know.
There was a show I watched. I can't remember. It might have been the show Shuffle. Might have been something else. I don't think it was Shuffle. I'm trying to think. I watched so many of these rom-coms. There was one where, like, towards the end, it took a dark twist, and I'm like, man, this show is super generic and whatever, but at least they took a dark twist. Like, that's something.
Sometimes you're like, I respect that.
I respect that.
It's garbage.
They didn't pull it off, but I respect they made the choice. Yeah. So maybe the show will do that, and maybe I'm completely wrong, and it'll be really good after episode 2. But you know, it's sort of this character is not as interesting to me as like the character from what's the show we watched last year where it was country girl? Was it Slipper or something?
Skip and Loafer?
Yeah, Skip and Loafer. That's what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
It's like the Skip and Loafer girl is more interesting to me because they took that bland country bumpkin thing. They're sort of doing the same trope with this girl's main character, just not as interesting.
Okay.
Which is kind of weird because that trope is sort of uninteresting girl, but you know what I mean. Because the Skip and Loafer girl was uninteresting, but interesting about it. So, Simple Girl, is that the trope?
I don't know. I don't know tropes.
I know that's not the official name, but I'm just like, is that the idea behind it?
You don't think they'll like Princess Diaries her, do you? They'll like make her want to be more like non-simple?
No, I don't think it's a she learns a lesson type of show. Okay. I think it's she teaches him to not be a fucking crazy show. Okay. But who knows? He might fucking kidnap her and tie her up and rape her. I don't know.
What if they both become crazy?
I'd watch that.
Dude, I just want to I want them to rob banks now.
I don't know. Now I'm just thinking of Gone Girl, where it's like she's clearly crazy, but he's kind of crazy for being into it.
That movie's interesting.
Yeah. Should I rewatch Gone Girl? Surely Blank Check will cover David Fincher at some point.
They did.
Did they talk about Gone Girl?
Yes.
Okay.
They just did Fincher.
They just did Fincher?
Yes. So we watched Zodiac last year.
That's right. That's Fincher.
Did you watch Gone Girl?
I watched it in theaters. Okay. I don't think I watched it.
But you didn't watch it when they were doing the
No, I don't think so.
Okay. See that?
Because I think I was like, I've seen Gone Girl. I'm fine. You know how I get sometimes where I'm like, the day before you plan to watch a movie, I'm like, yeah, I'll go watch that. And the day of, I'm like, no. I'm not going to watch a movie. Gotcha. What are you, crazy? I don't like movies. I like sitting on my ass watching TV. I don't have to think. But no, I do love movies. Okay, so that's a condition called love. Should I do another one of my shows that I'm on like a multi-season of, so I can just go through it quick?
Sure, go for it.
My note from My Hero Academia Season 7, or is it Academia?
I would say 7. Academia.
Big Lady, good. I like Big Lady.
Ooh, Big Lady's in it?
Big Lady's in it.
Is it the same Big Lady that's been in the previous seasons?
No. Not Mount Lady. It's Stars and Stripes. American Big Lady.
Oh, there's an American Big Lady?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. I gotta watch this season.
She pulls a berserker and rides a jet plane. Stealth bomber. There's only technically 2 episodes of season 7 of My Hero out so far, because they did like 3 recap episodes. Okay. Which they did the recap episodes in a nice way. It's sort of like, hey, here's Deku's recap. Here's bad guy recap. Here's other good guys recap. They sort of did like a... Okay. Like, Yeah. They did it that way so that we can kind of get caught up. And to be fair, I needed a little bit of a refresher, so it was fine. Which my Hero like schedule is, it comes out early Saturday mornings here, like real early. And so
you don't have to know that character's name, do you?
Stars and Stripes.
Yeah. Is that her name?
Yeah, Stars and Stripes. I think Cassie is her real name, but
oh yeah, that's definitely you energy.
Yeah. That is something I am into very much so. Don't get me wrong, I love Mount Lady too, but
okay.
Anyway, the first 2 episodes are basically about her.
Cool.
Okay, so yeah, that's My Hero season 7 so far. That's all I've got to say about that. Moving on. Let's do either one of your... Well, you only have one more of yours. Mm-hmm. So should we do one that we watched together?
Sure.
Let's do an Archdemon's Dilemma, How to Love Your Elf Bride.
Okay.
Just because we've only watched the first episode of this half an hour ago. Okay. What are your thoughts on this one?
Not interested.
Okay. You want to ask me what my thoughts are?
Sure.
Interesting.
Of course you are.
Do I think it's going to be good? No.
No, this show's not going to be good.
It's like, I don't know. The one thing I have to say is like, why did I buy this slave girl if I'm not going to sacrifice herself? I'm not some sort of perv. Like, yes, you are. Just say it.
You just bought a girl for $1 million.
Yeah, you just spent $1 million on an elf slave girl, and you haven't just like said like, okay, go home. Like, she still like lives with you. You've just said I'm not going to kill you.
Yeah.
You haven't, and you've been like, I need you, and it's like, okay, you can just let her go.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if he's like, you're free, and she's like, I've been a slave my whole life. I don't know how to take care of myself. And he's like, okay, well, you can stay here until you're ready to go. And then they're like, and then he's like, actually, I kind of like it. No, it's just, you can stay. Here's your room. I'm not going to kill you. That's all he can stress is that I'm not going to kill you. Why did you buy me? You don't need to know that. Just say, just be honest, man.
Say you like her.
Just be like, I think you're hot. I want to get to know you better. You are my slave, so you have to do this. Which is very, very bad, but at least it's something, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm gonna watch.
I'm not interested.
I'm gonna watch more of it, but it's not gonna be good.
Okay.
That's where I'm at right now.
Oh, I do have one more question for you about this show.
Yeah.
Are there any elf stereotypes?
Oh yes. Okay. You asked this, and I'm like, save it for the record. You asked, are elves bad at driving?
Oh, that was an example of like a stereotype that elves have.
So.
Are they like? Can they not see at night?
You know that I fucking hate elves, right?
Yeah.
You know why I hate elves?
Well, I hate elves because of Arco.
Okay.
Sorry, I just name dropped him.
We try not to name drop our friends that haven't been on the show. I could go back and bleep that. I'm not going to, but I could.
Okay.
Well, it's partly because of his elf deck, yes.
Okay.
And that it was annoying as hell back in high school.
Mm-hmm.
It's partly because elves, their stereotype is that they're arrogant and they think they're better than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that just rubs me the wrong way a lot.
Okay.
Especially when that elf deck was better than me a lot of times.
It's definitely better than me.
And it's like, come on, man. Like, why you gotta be such an asshole? So the elf's gotta really work hard to get into my good graces. Okay. Legolas, good guy. He worked, he earned it. Drizzt, sure.
What the heck is
I guess. He's the famous dark elf from D&D lore.
Oh, okay.
He's up there with like Minsc and Boo.
Okay.
I'm sure is a name you've heard.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Minsc and Boo.
Yeah. So for the most part in D&D lore, dark elves are considered like an evil race. Mm-hmm. Now they've kind of moved away from that because that's got some bad connotations to it. But they were like, Drizzt was the exception back in like the 80s and 90s. It's just like, oh yeah, he's the dark elf you can trust. He's the drow that doesn't worship the evil god Lolth. Like,
I gotcha. Yeah, elves are usually just like depicted as like the rich, snotty people. You're just like
they're not necessarily like rich and snotty. Like they're very like sometimes their haughtiness comes from like a better than thou attitude of like, we live with nature. We don't, pollute the world. And it's like, okay, but
but the TVs are.
You don't have. I'm doing especially in a fantasy setting where like pollution's not like a thing. Or they're just like, you don't respect the trees because you're chopping them down. It's like, yeah, because I need to build a home. I can't sing the trees to take the shape of a home for me like you do, you asshole. I plan it back, all right? It's called forestry. You can't just chop down a whole forest. You gotta like give 20 years for the trees to grow back. You have a cycle. It's fine.
Crop rotation.
Yeah, that's my serious answer for is there an elf stereotype. If you want a silly answer, they really love carrots.
Really love carrots.
Sure. I just made that up.
Okay.
But it sounds right.
Okay. I was going to say they can't tell time. They just can't read clocks.
Like, what is that contraption with the arrows? They don't know what numbers are. There are some of us here. Can we get a...
Can you bring like 5
Is everybody here?
It's like quick.
If only we had some way of checking the amount of people that we have.
So they're bad with numbers.
They don't understand the concept of numbers. That's what we're going with.
It'd be 5 gold.
Is this 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Should I talk about another one? I mean, when do you want to talk about your last one?
We can do it now if you want.
Okay, let's talk about your last one. I've already forgotten what it is.
It's called Bartender, Glass of God.
Okay.
It's a bartending sports anime.
They have
kind of.
They have competitions?
There's been one competition.
Okay.
But it's structured like it, I think. Hold on.
Okay.
Actually, no, just that one episode. Never mind. It's not a sports anime. Anyways. So basically, 2 ladies are tasked with finding the perfect bartender for a new hotel. Nobody's good enough. They run into a bum on a park bench who had a bar book. They run into him again. It turns out he's like a renowned bartender who like trained in Europe. He makes drinks for some peoples, and he's the Sherlock Holmes of bartenders. So like a lady walks in with a briefcase, and he's like, she's a lawyer. She wants soup. So he makes her soup with like vodka, beef bouillon in it or something. I'm like, that's not a drink. That's a freaking soup.
Are soups drinks?
No.
Question answered. Come to us for more life advice.
Another one's like, one of the ladies walks in and she like, the competition's like, both gotta make the same drink, and she's gotta pick which the best one is.
I'm sorry. Can I stop you for a second?
Sure.
Thinking of soup makes me think of like, well, there are some soups that have like stuff in them. Like chicken noodle soup has stuff in it, but there's some soups that are mostly just like broth, like tomato soup. Like that's, I don't know, that's sort of just a liquid.
I'm sorry, I don't know what type of soup it was. It was just a soup.
But anyway, it made me think of, I was just thinking of types of soup in my head, and then I thought of gazpacho soup, and then I thought
that's cold soup.
Then I thought of revenge like gazpacho soup is best served cold and precise. And then, I'm never getting enough precision in my soup.
Okay.
It's Venture Brothers reference.
I know, I got it.
I'm telling the masses.
All right.
The thousands of non-listeners.
You don't have to tell me if it's I know it's a Venture Brothers reference. You say them enough, I know which ones are which.
Do you know Venture Brothers DVDs and Blu-rays went on sale today?
Okay, and they immediately sold out?
Yeah, they sold out in a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, that was... I got an email about it. And then at like 3 o'clock, I'm like, oh yeah, that was happening. I'm an hour late. Now they're sold out. Oh well. I already have all the DVDs and Blu-rays. Except my DVDs don't work.
Damn.
But you have you have the DVD set.
I do. Which I'm assuming work. But we haven't tested those.
It's true. Because I have Blu-rays.
And HBO Max.
Yeah, and Max. It's just easier. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Plus, we gave them the money, and now we're supporting them with streaming. This is the best way of doing it.
I gave Amazon the money.
Okay. But I mean, we moved units is the thing. We moved units, and we're watching it on streaming. Yeah. You know, once you make the one-time purchase of moving the unit, then we're not giving them any more revenue. So you got to give them more revenue by streaming instead of watching the things we buy.
Okay. Anyways, they have a drink competition.
Okay.
And like, I think they make a Cosmopolitan. They make some drink. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Anyways, like he makes his just a little bit colder because he's noticed that she like ran here and that she was sweaty. So he's like, I'm going to make it a little bit colder.
Than what the book says.
Yeah. And it's like, well, okay, whatever.
You did it.
But he ends up losing because he did that, the drink tastes different the second time she drinks it, while the other guy's drink is like exactly the same this time. I'm just like, what? This is I'll say what I wrote down. It's like, I would like this show if I had any interest in alcohol.
Yeah, we're the worst people to talk about this.
Like, it's interesting how like the story itself, but it's just like I have no interest in this because it's just alcohol.
Okay, can I tell you something? What's that show where they play Karuta or Hanafuda?
You talking about Chihaya Furu?
Yeah, Chihaya Furu. Which one is it? Do they play Karuta in that, or
I think it's Karuta. I don't know.
Or Hanafuda. One of them is the thing that they play in Summer Wars, and one of them is the thing they play in Chihaya Furu.
I think the first one, the Karuta.
Karuta. I have no interest in Karuta whatsoever, but Chihaya Furu rocks.
I guess that's like a game though. That'd be like if there was any way to like translate this to English, this game, I'd be interested in it. But just because it's a Japanese game that there's no way to translate here, it's like I don't have an interest in it. But like, there's a theoretical.
Wait, you don't have an interest in Karuta?
Well, again, the game itself I am, but I can't get into it just because it's like Japanese poems. I don't know anything about that.
But it's not about the Japanese poem.
It's about you know what I mean. It's about the.
I'm just saying that if there's something that you, so here's an example of something that two examples of something I have zero interest in, and that is how to mix drinks.
Okay.
And Karuta. I'm never gonna play Karuta in my life.
Okay.
But I like the characters in Chihaya Furu. I like the sports anime tropes of we're gonna get better.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so I like that versus again, I haven't watched this bartending anime, but I'm just saying like you don't have to necessarily care about what they're doing to find the show interesting.
Gotcha.
I'm like, I never thought I'd care about Karuta, but Chihaya Furu was like, man, this show rules. I guess
the characters aren't interesting enough to keep my interest in it.
Yeah. But you've only seen a couple episodes
I've
too,
seen 3.
so yeah, who knows? It's Chihaya Furu is a big bar to set, to be fair. So.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, again, it's okay. It is kind of interesting, but it's just it had a big bar to climb, and it just not interesting enough to climb or past the bar, I guess. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. You have anything else to say about Bar God or whatever it was called?
Nope.
Okay. So there are 3 shows left for us to talk about. There is a Salad Bowl of Eccentrics, Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 2, and Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night.
Okay. Do Makoto Shin or whatever this.
Mushoku Tensei?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do that one.
It's fine. I like it.
Okay.
It's kind of boring because spoilers for the next 30 seconds. It's at this point it's just married life bliss.
Oh, okay.
But the last episode was just like, hey, he's getting compelled to leave to go like save his mom. So it's like, are you gonna abandon your pregnant wife?
Ooh.
So, and also like a god that sometimes appears in his dreams is like, hey, the next time that the animal people are in heat, it would benefit you greatly to have sex with one of them. He's like, but I'm married and I don't want to be that guy. So, God's stirring some shit up.
Interesting.
So that's literally what happened last.
But I don't want to impregnate an animal lady.
Anyway. I know spoilers about the show, so I'll tell you some stuff.
Sorry,
off
I just
screen.
hope somebody heard you could skip 30 seconds, and as soon as that happens, I say, I don't want that.
Yeah. Anyway, so I like it so far. There's not a lot like happening because it's. I mean, the part 1 of season 2 has been very like chill sort of thing.
Okay.
It's not like a grand adventure. It's like, hey, I'm dealing with some personal stuff. Spoilers for another 10 seconds. Erectile dysfunction. Anyway, so it's been good. It's just not necessarily
try
been
taking a bath outside. Everything I know, you just got to take a bath outside.
I'm not gonna. No. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about Mushoku Tensei Season 2 Part 2.
Okay.
So we have 2 more shows to talk about. Mm-hmm. Do we want to end with Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night?
Yeah, I figured we'd end with that one.
Okay, so I'll talk about A Salad Bowl of Eccentrics. I've told you a little bit about this show, I think, but I'll go ahead and say it on mic. Princess running from people trying to kill her, escapes to another world. The other world is our world.
Okay.
Her bodyguard, lady in waiting, servant, whatever, was right behind her, fended off the attackers for a while so she could escape. Then she jumped in after her, like a good time after her because she was like, I don't know where she is. The princess, who's like 13 to 15 or something, basically gets the pity of a private investigator to just like house her and feed her. And in return, she helps him with his detective agency because she has magic powers. So her half of the story is she's a wizard detective.
She's a wizard detective.
So that's like one half of the story. The other half, like, there are episodes where she's not in it like whatsoever, and it's following the lady knight that was her protector. So when she lands, she's just homeless.
Okay.
And like every once in a while, she'll get like a job, and she like, it's just a recurring bit where they like, whenever they introduce somebody, they'll be like, it's this person, and their job is this, and her job just keeps changing from homeless to something else, then back to homeless.
Okay.
So like, she started to work at a hostess club that was doing illicit sex deals, but before she could do any illicit sex deals, it got broken up by the police. So it's like, well, I was going to live in this dormitory and work for this place, but now I'm homeless again. And I can't be caught by the police because I don't have a visa. I am an illegal immigrant from another world. I don't have any documents, so I can't really get financial aid anyway. She joins a cult once, and then somebody tries to like that infiltrated the cult is like, you ruined my sister's life or something like that, and then the lady running the cult, which is another, I don't know, like a 20-something-year-old maybe, was just like, I'm a healer. And he's like, oh yeah, well then heal this. And he stabs himself. And then the night lady, because she also has magic, is just like, oh yeah, I'll go up and heal you. And then the leader of the cult, the 20-something lady, is just like, wait, is she an actual god? I should go worship her. And then like, so now she convinces the one girl to go and stay with her. It's like, you'll be in charge of product development as we build statues of you. She like takes a 3D scan of her and starts making anime figures of her. So and she's like, oh yeah, I guess young girls would like dolls like this. And they're like, actually our target demographic is male adults.
Okay.
But anyway, so her job turns to like mooch at that point. Meanwhile, one of the girls she met at the brothel, like she meets up with her. She's like, oh yeah, I'm staying with a friend of mine. My real passion is music. I want to be I want to break out as a musician. And the sex work was just because it paid really well. Meanwhile, her roommate / friends are like, hey, we paid this month of rent. I'm moving in with my boyfriend. The band's breaking up. We thought it was really weird when you started doing sex for money. And she's like, fuck. But then she convinces Night Girl to learn how to play the guitar. And it's like, you got that good in a week? How much did you practice? About 15 hours a day. Like, what? I don't have anything else to do. So that's the other half, is it might be turning into a girl band for the other half of the story.
Okay.
Because the cult lady is also like has a keyboard and has done like sound editing, so it's like, okay, so we're starting a girl band over here, and we're doing a wizard detective over here, and sometimes they meet each other.
So I guess my question is the show good?
I'm liking it.
Okay.
I'm reserving whether or not it's good.
Okay.
Until the end, but I'm liking it so far. It's not super heavy. It's light, and fun. It is not for children.
Okay.
There was a scene in The Wizard Detectiving where they're like, "Man, we really wish I could see over that wall." And she's like, "Well, I can fly." She takes a camera over the wall, and it's like, "Oh yeah, that maintenance guy is fucking that girl."
Oh.
And it's like, you just made a 13-year-old look at that.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, I got to be more careful. Not expose her to such things. But yeah, I don't know. I would recommend. I think you should give it a shot. But maybe I'll watch it all and decide whether or not you should give it a shot.
Okay.
And then we can talk about the last show that we watched together now.
Okay.
This one, I think we were both interested. I think you were more gung-ho about, yes, let's watch that. Mm-hmm. This one is Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night, which is our only high dive show this season. There's more high dive shows we might want to watch, but we're kind of in a time crunch to get this done.
Yeah.
Because we wasted too much time not watching anime.
To be fair, I was busy last week.
Yeah, your sister got married.
Yeah.
Congratulations to her.
Thanks. No.
I was about to say loser, but no, it's the opposite. Congratulations. This one I think has probably got the best cinematography. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
they make
it looks
interesting
the
shots.
best.
Yeah,
I think it gets too cute sometimes, if you know what I mean. I think it tries too hard sometimes for those angles, but it looks nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about creating art, not just music, but otherwise.
Yeah.
I kind of like the vibe of the group they've got going on, where it's like, we're not a band. We just, one of us is an artist, and two of us are musicians. Or technically, one of us is I guess she's a musician, because she can play.
But yeah.
Well,
I know.
I'm talking about the first girl.
Oh, okay.
She plays guitar, but she's mostly a singer.
Gotcha.
She's not a songwriter, is the thing. Whereas the piano girl is a songwriter. She writes lyrics.
Okay.
She doesn't write music.
Gotcha.
The composer writes music.
Gotcha.
And then there's the tech girl. So, who can do editing and
sound mixing
and all that. So, just sort of we're gonna work on projects together, and we'll just, I guess, we're this online anonymous group. That's our thing. So, I'm liking it so far.
Yeah.
I know it might go down that path if cute girls doing cute things, but so far
I think they're setting up some more drama potentially than just cute girls do cute things.
Yeah. Or it might not just be, it's not going to turn into Grandma and Grandpa Are Young Again, where they're just doing bits. They'll have an actual story behind it. Drama is it's got a weird connotation to it, where it's like, oh, drama. No, it's like, oh, there might be interesting things that happen.
Yes.
There might be a story here. As opposed to there just being like, okay, we'll make another music video now. So.
Yeah. I think things will come up to where their friendship or business will be put to the test.
Okay, all right. But do you think it's going to go the way of the melodrama, which is what people actually are thinking of when they have the negative connotation around drama?
I don't think a huge melodrama.
Okay. Which would be good, because I don't necessarily want to watch a melodrama.
I feel like what I'm thinking, melodramas are always just like, come on, figure this out. This is stupid.
Yes.
As opposed to drama, it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah. But you have to admit that the way the language is going is that when you think of drama, you instinctively go to melodrama. It's like, oh yeah, that show's got a lot of drama in it. Or that girl is all about the drama. It's like, no, they're about the melodrama. It's drama, but it's to an extreme, often for comical effect. Or not necessarily comical, but it's so extreme that it's...
Define drama as just basically something happens that you have to confront it almost.
So, what do I look like, a dictionary? I don't know what the exact definition of drama is.
Okay.
It's about... when I think of a drama, I just mean it's about people's emotions and the characters. It's not necessarily about what's happening.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Whereas a melodrama is an extreme exaggeration of like, look at all these emotional situations we put ourselves in by these absolutely convoluted stretches. Like, you know, like this is ridiculous because we just couldn't like clear anything up. And there's this series of misunderstandings and like, and now I'm overly dramatic. I'm so emotional over this small thing. Or
it'd be like somebody sneezes, the best friend doesn't say bless you, so
she was dead to me.
She was dead to me. It's like, come on.
Please. Real one say Gesundheit. You know that. Anyway.
Do you remember that Tommy Pickles short film he made? It's called Gesundheit?
A little bit. You talking about All Grown Up?
Yeah.
That is... Should we watch All Grown Up? Is it good? It can't be good.
No,
right?
I don't think it is.
Rugrats is still good though, right?
I don't know. I'm too afraid to find out.
Too afraid to go back?
Yeah.
Let's get Rugrats Season 1 on DVD.
Okay. I'm sure it's on Paramount.
Okay, but then I won't have it on DVD.
Okay.
So recently, I was invited to a 1-year-old's birthday party, and so I was talking to my mom about what to get the 1-year-old, and like her parents say that she's not allowed to watch TV, so I don't think I can get her Gossip Girl Season 2 on DVD. Which is just... And then I texted her dad, like, what does she want for her birthday? Beach toys, like maybe a nice ball, Gossip Girl Season 2 on DVD. Which, to be fair, was the funniest thing I could think of at the time.
That's pretty good.
That just made me think of that. I guess we're done talking.
Was that the last show?
Konosuba Season 3 talked about. Slime Season 3 talked about. A Condition Called Love talked about. Mushoku Tensei talked about. My Hero Season 7 talked about. Jellyfish Can't Swim at Night talked about. An Archdemon's Dilemma, How to Love Your Elf Bride talked about.
Okay.
Grandma and Grandpa Are Young Again talked about.
Bartender Glass of God talked about. I think we're done talking about shows. We talked about 1, 2, 3... I think it was 10 shows. Spent about a roughly average of 5 minutes on each show. Some more, some less. You know, that's... we filled the time better than last week's episode there. So, you know, if you want to, you don't have to. Nobody's asking you to. Well, I'm asking you to, but I won't take it personally if you don't. But, you know, you can follow us on YouTube as Anime Territory. You can find us on pretty much anywhere you find podcasts these days as Anime Territory. Anime_ Territory on the site formerly known as Twitter. X Twitter. It's X, not Twitter, so it's X Twitter. It used to be Twitter, but now it's not. It's X Twitter. I got it. You can
Anime_Territory. Send me a message on there, and I will. I'll mail you a sticker if you want it. I've got a bunch of stickers still. Okay. You are now leaving the Anime Territory.
Goodbye.